Shit's getting hot, boys. I'm not gonna lie. Shit is getting hot. We are starting to pick up steam. Shout out to Doreen. Where is Lou Holtz? Fucking
I like to know where Lou Holtz is.
Lou Holtz is looking for Ryan Day. All right, so recruiting update, boys. So this isn't as clean as it would be with Johnny or with my good co-host, which by the way, we miss you, John Diadamo. But we are gonna do it off riff. And we're just going one by one here. Johnny, if you want to hit on any of these recruits, you let me know, but I'm just going to go through it. So
go ahead.
Boys, we have who is become a major target, and that is QB1 of 2026, Ryder Lyons, guys. Ryder Lyons is interesting because he's the one who's going to be going on an 18-month mission, and he will not truly be a quarterback for Michigan or any school he chooses until 2027. But he is without question elite. And what's very interesting is he did an interview recently, and he essentially mentioned that BYU and Michigan were his top teams that he was looking at. And Michigan's pushing very hard here. It does appear from an outsider's perspective that Michigan is giving Ryder Lyons a little bit more attention than potentially Trey Taylor, who's a true 2027, who we're a big fan of. We had him on the show. We like Trey Taylor. But obviously, if we were to land Ryder Lyons, who is elite, and we showed you guys this huddle tape maybe a week ago, obviously that would move Trey Taylor in a different direction, right? So we have to see that. This is really what Chip Lindsey is probably having the strongest input here, because what I do know is Trey Taylor wants to meet and sit down with Chip Lindsey. There isn't that relationship quite built yet where they're very comfortable with one another yet. So Trey Taylor will be visiting Michigan this March. We will see on that. But Ryder Lyons is going to be visiting Michigan April 12th through the 13th for an unofficial visit, multi-day unofficial visit. This is a name we need to watch because it does appear as the weeks and the days progress, momentum and things seem to be trending in a really good direction for Michigan. And it appears Michigan's very aggressive here. So let's see how this transpires. Johnny, do you have anything at Ryder Lyons?
I've seen him a little bit. He looks like a stud. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, just from what the few clips I've seen of him, he looks nice. So with this, he's what is it? Mormon? That's Mormon mission.
No, he's not Mormon. He's like a special type of Catholic or Christian, or it's not Mormon because Mormon's simply a 2-year mission. This is an 18-month mission. I'm sure someone in the comments knows. It's a unique. It's not even unique. It's a certain religion that has a. I don't see it in the channel. I'm sure someone.
So he graduates. So he graduates 2020 this year, 2025.
No, I don't think he's Jesuit, GT. I don't remember what he is, so forgive me. I don't think it's Jesuit either. It's like saints, like Christian saint, or I don't even know. Whoever knows. If you know, let me know. All right, so next player we're gonna hit on is number 1 player in the nation, Jackson Mother effing Cantwell. He's going to be visiting Michigan this week, guys. This week. He will be on campus March 22nd, and Michigan's going to look to make a move here, a real move. And Michigan's been aggressive here, and it's widely known and widely understood. This is an NIL recruitment, guys. This is an NIL recruitment. Now, the players who are in this recruitment, it is between Miami, Michigan, and Oregon. Tells you all you need to know. These are bags. These are these are bags.
What you got in that bag?
Yeah, and what's really interesting about this, Johnny, is Michigan just went hard as hell for Andrew Babalola and Ty Haywood. They put up the money. They got the job done. They literally stole Ty Haywood from Alabama. Alabama wasn't even willing to play ball. They're like, nope, not going to do it. Too much money.
Yeah.
There's word. Michigan's going to be as aggressive with Jackson Cantwell. And they're looking to land another elite offensive lineman back-to-back years who are literally dudes. Like these guys are literally the cornerstone players. And you're stacking cornerstone players. You're going to stack. If you land Cantwell, you're about to stack 3 cornerstone players in back-to-back years. Very interesting to see how this transpires. We're going to learn a lot after the spring visit, but I wanted to bring to your guys' attention. He is coming to visit March 22nd. And you can see when we go through this recruiting update, they want these kids to see practice. They want these kids to see the culture. They want these kids to see Bryce Underwood in action. No doubt that's a part of it. We'll get into it when we get into receivers and what's going on there. The other thing that's pretty crazy that's going on, another offensive lineman that Michigan's been very high on, and it's Malachi Lee. Malachi Lee, as of Sunday, has started a 4-day visit, a 4-day unofficial, on his own dime visit, as he is from Hawaii. And this is major because there was a lot of speculation in the winter that Michigan was the leader for Malachi Lee. Malachi Lee is a monster, guys. He's 6'6", 318 pounds, offensive tackle, and I'm sorry, 318 pounds. Forgive me. And
he's a monster already.
Yeah, he's already a big boy, bro. And what's interesting is USC seems to have made a move. And if anyone has paid attention to recruiting, USC is a problem right now. They literally have like 6 top 100 guys right now. They're the number 1 class in the nation. Their total composite as a class is already 255 points, which would be considered a pretty solid year. So if they stopped recruiting today, they'd be considered a pretty solid class. That's how good USC is doing. Obviously, they're pushing bags because they got to save Lincoln Riley. But USC is our main challenger here. And the fact that Michigan is getting 4 straight days, 4 straight practices to show, well, I guess it'd be about 2 or 3 practices to show Malachi Lee what Michigan has to offer. This is the opportunity to change the momentum of this recruitment. And I think, and I don't know this is assumption, but I do believe Michigan can do it. And the reason why I believe they can do it is because Malachi Lee is so high on their board. And Michigan, when they lock into guys, they go all in. We know NIL is not a problem. We know this. I know that Sharon Moore is using this spring practice as a recruiting opportunity to just showcase what this program is building into. And when you have a player like Bryce Underwood, and these kids are going to see him in practice just unloading, they're going to want to come here, guys. They're going to want to be a part of this. You know, we obviously have a winning culture. We just beat Ohio State again for 4 years in a row. We just beat Alabama. Sure, we had some down years, but there's a national championship that's just a year old. You know, 3 straight Big Ten titles. Sharon Moore has proven himself to be a pretty good coach in big games. I'm anticipating a big spring, guys. And we're going to, do you want to hit on Malachi Lee, Johnny?
Yeah, that would be a huge get. I mean, going against USC, it's like, what does USC really have to offer? Like, their culture, they don't really have a winning culture. It's a disappointing culture, if we want to be honest about it. Like, every year they're up there and then they disappoint. So it's like Michigan, like you said, Michigan just won the Natty a year ago or 2 years ago, however you want to say it. And the way Michigan gets down, the physicality, like, what offensive lineman doesn't want to push people around and get the chance to manhandle dudes?
Right. And Michigan prioritizes offensive line. And we've already heard it. We just had Bear McWhirter on just last week, who committed to Michigan stolen from Alabama, literally said the focus that Michigan has on the offensive line, the way that they make that a priority. And Sharon Moore is the head man who won 2 Joe Moore Awards. He talked about how when he came to visit, when that Joe Moore Award trophy was in the weight room, it meant a lot to him. It was a lasting impression. Michigan has that identity. We are a power spread offense, and we are going to smash you. And that's what we do. And that's why we're so appealing. And that's why other top targets, and the next 2 guys I'm going to talk about, I love every single offensive lineman I've hit on and I'm about to hit on, I love Jackson Cantwell. I love Malachi Lee. Marky Walbridge is the next kid we're going to talk about. He's also going to be visiting Michigan March 21st to the 23rd, a 3-day unofficial visit, guys. Again, unofficials is paying on their own dime. They're coming here to really take in the experience, really take in practice. Do these kids have school? I don't know.
That's what I was about to say. What are they on spring break right now, right?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, but I'll be honest, if my kid was like a blue chip player, we're looking at college, son. We're looking at college. But anyways, again, a 6'6" monster. This kid's a mauler. He fits the identity. He's right up there with Bear McWhirter in terms of just smash football. Every single one of these dudes we're going to talk about today, they're the same identity, the same DNA. Like, there's no doubt, you could see Michigan. If you look at Michigan's recruiting board and like the prospects they're targeting, in terms of offensive line, it is very clear the direction and mentality that they're after, and it is just nasty players, nasty smash mouth players. And Marky Wahlberg fits that. And the next player we're going to talk about is very similar. And shout out to Maze Madman and shout out to the crew, because they had Zayden Crimpin on for an interview about 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah. And he's also going to be visiting Michigan. Actually, he's already in Michigan. He's already in Ann Arbor. He's visiting right now. He's in Ann Arbor right now. And Michigan's extremely high on him also. He also fits our DNA. So when you look at these four guys, Jackson Cantwell, Malachi Lee, Marky Wahlberg, Zayden Crimpin, they're sure, some are a little, but they're all good. Like every single one of these dudes would be great lands. All blue chip players. I mean, like it's a hell of a group of targets that are currently visiting Michigan, or going to be visiting Michigan. I think we're going to have an amazing offensive line class. And we've had 2 years in a row of very good offensive line classes. This might be the best one. Like really,
that's saying something.
It's saying, but I'm gonna tell you, Michigan's playing ball, bro. Michigan, you know what I'm saying? Michigan's playing ball.
You got to play ball, but with Sharon Moore and his identity and how he is, that offensive line has to be legit. Like it has to be, especially with Bryce now. You know, you have to get that offensive line back to where we had it and where we want it and need it, because we saw how it is when you don't have it last year. You know, Davis Warren running for his life and just throwing it up. He don't want to get hit. He didn't want to get hit the first 5 games. He just throwing it up. So you got to have that offensive line, whether you're trying to smash or you're trying to pass. We need a good offensive line play.
Absolutely. And I'm trying to find the next guy I want to shoot. I should have had this ready before we started it. All right, I don't have it ready, so we're just going to have to talk about it. But the next player I want to hit on, and this is a major one. This is one of those, if anyone's been following On3, they've been talking about there's a few players that they're not mentioning names about who are secretly visiting Michigan. One of those players, well, one of them was Malachi Lee. Although, bro, we had that like 2 weeks ago. We knew when he was coming to visit. I don't know why they were playing all secretive about it, but apparently Malachi Lee told one of the guys there, Ethan McDowell, I think his name is, to hold off on making that public, but it was already public. We talked about that a few weeks ago. Anyways, Calvin Russell, the number 3 wide receiver in the nation, is visiting Michigan, guys. He's going to be visiting Michigan for a multiple-day visit to take in practice, get to know Bryce Underwood, and Michigan is pushing hard here. So one thing that I told you guys since December, and if it wasn't December, it was definitely January. I told you I'm a firm believer that Michigan is going to land an elite wide receiver this cycle. Now, It may not be over the summer, but it will be when they start playing ball in the regular season, because these kids are going to see Bryce Underwood, NIL is going to be good, and they're going to be told, and they are being told, I know this has already been confirmed, that they are going to have the opportunity to start game 1. When we need an alpha. We need that alpha wide receiver. And there is a big need for that in Michigan, especially on the outside, right? So Calvin Russell, and I wanted to show us huddle tape, guys, but there's a lot of Calvin Russells. Who knew? But so my bad for not having that up for you guys. And again, John D. Adam was not here. Shout out to my partners, why I need him. But he's going to be here for a multi-day visit. This is one of the wide receivers that Michigan is currently targeted that we would put in that elite category. Another player who's going to be visiting Michigan March 24th to March 25th is Messiah Hampton, the number 193 player in the nation. Another pretty big time receiver.
You got how big is he?
I said big time. Size wise, I believe. Let's see. I think he's actually on the smaller. I think he's like a Z type. So he's only 6 foot 170. Calvin Russell, to get his size, by the way. Let's see if we got that. So Calvin Russell, to get his size, is 6'5", 195.
Ooh, that's Nico. That's Nico. We need that.
Yeah, let me actually, you know what? I think I just found his highlight tape. We're gonna play this. So I just got to Calvin Russell's highlight tape. Let's play this. So as we're gonna talk about some of these, actually, let's take a look at this. So let's take a look at Calvin Russell.
6'5".
Yeah, so this kid's 6'5", 195. So this is who Michigan's currently targeting. This is who, another elite player. He's currently the number 3 wide receiver in the nation, 18th overall by 247, 38th overall by the composite. But you can already see, look how tall he is. He's just towering these dudes out here. We're talking about extremely athletic, lanky. This kid's going to go to the NFL, guys. You can already see it. I mean, please, Michigan.
Yeah, he just needs to be fine-tuned with his
weight room,
his body and his weight.
He's in the weight room. And let me just, so they're targeting elite players right now at the wide receiver position, which I'm very excited about because that is, we talked about like maybe a week ago, we were talking about
too easy.
If I look at the Michigan football program, they're doing everything I could ask as a football fan, except one thing, and that's landing an elite wide receiver. Well, they are on pursuit of that this cycle, and I believe they will do it. So shout out to Michigan for putting in the work there. The next player I want to talk about is Christian Ward, okay? This is a very interesting recruitment. 6'3" wide receiver, 4-star out of Georgia. What makes this interesting is he's visiting Michigan today, but that's not why it's interesting. It's interesting because he has Michigan currently as the number 1 team in his recruitment. And I find that interesting because there's not a lot of talk about him. But he is confirmed twice now over the last 2 months to E.J. Holland. I know, E.J. Holland. He's confirmed to E.J. Holland the last 2 months that Michigan currently leads his recruitment. He is visiting again today, guys. And there is a belief that if Michigan pushes, they could land Christian Ward. So that's a name we're going to be watching. He does have ties to Michigan. His older cousin actually played basketball for Michigan in the 90s. And his cousin's name was Gerard Ward. So I'm not as familiar with the 90s basketball. I did miss the Fab Five era. I did miss the 90s era. But interesting little tie. So there's definitely the maize and blue connection within his family. So that's something we are going to be monitoring. Is he going to be one of the wide receivers that ends up in this class? We'll find out. The next player we're going to hit on is Brock Harris, the number 3 tight end in the nation. He is currently set to do an unofficial visit March 28th, guys. So again, within recent weeks, we're going to be hosting one of the top tight ends. And then Brock Harris, in my opinion, is a must get because we missed out on. I need to chill out. And there's a reason why I need to chill out. Matt Ludwig is the big time tight end too. We're after Matt Ludwig. And actually, we're in a great position for Matt Ludwig. That's a kid out of Montana who just moved up, I think, into the top like 150s overall. He's also going to be visiting March 21st to March 23rd. So both these tight ends are going to be on campus relatively soon. But I wanted to give you guys an update on Brock Harris because he is the number 3 tight end in the nation, big time player. And the reason why I was going to say he's a must get is because of the Andrew Olish situation. Shout out to his mom because she rocks. Dad, not so much. And then the next player I want to talk about with you guys is Carter Meadows. And I'm going to pull up his huddle tape right now. So Carter Meadows, guys, is a 5-star player, number 6 player in the nation. Okay. 6th player in the nation. So let me pull this up right here. Defensive line. So Carter Meadows has Michigan as one of his top schools. And there's a reason why this is an interesting recruitment, guys. He's going to be visiting Michigan this week, March 21st. And what makes this very interesting and unique is he is not about just money. He's about academics. We have an Andrew Babaloa situation, ladies and gentlemen. We have an Andrew Babaloa. He is visiting Northwestern and Stanford.
Okay? Ain't no excuses not to get him.
Yeah, exactly. So academics matter. So because we have NIL and because we are Michigan, we have the academics. This kid seems very gettable for Michigan. We have everything he could possibly want. He's a monster. Monster. This is a must get. Number 6 player.
What's his size?
He is 6. Let's double check. Let's just double check. So I'll pull up his profile. I believe he's 6'5", but let's double check. 6'6", 215 right now. So obviously he needs to add some weight, but that's okay. We can do that. Yeah. Just trust he can handle that. So be on the lookout, guys, for Carter Meadows. He will be visiting the 21st. We will, without question, have our ears to the ground, seeing what we hear coming out of this visit. But to me, get. This kid is elite, cornerstone type player, physically gifted. Look at his arms. Look at his frame. I mean, he's built for it, man. You put a good 40 pounds on him, and we can do that. That's what we do. Who are we watching? This is Carter Meadows. Carter Meadows, number 6 player in the nation, 5-star edge out of Gonzaga. We've had success getting players out of Gonzaga, a private school. Yes, this is Meadows. Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah, he is a stud, dude. And yeah, so let's be on the lookout, boys. Let's see what they can do. Now, the next player I want to hit on is a 2027, and that is Dakota Garant. Now, typically, you guys know how we do the recruiting updates. We don't typically touch 2027s. It's a year away, but this is unique. The only time we do 2027s is if it's a quarterback or an elite 5-star player, or it has to be a really unique situation. Well, guess what? This is going to hit 2 of the 3. We're talking the number 1 wide receiver in the nation, Dakota Garant out of Michigan.
Okay. Best players in Michigan go to Michigan.
That's right, baby. And Michigan has a great relationship with him. Bryce Underwood has a great relationship with him. Could you imagine a scenario where we land a Calvin Russell, and then you get Dakota Garant the next season, and we also get CJ Sadler this year?
How big is he?
Bro. How big is he? Dakota Garant. So Dakota Garant is, I believe he is maybe 6'3". Let's find out though. Let me just double check. No, I lied. He's actually only 6'1".
That ain't bad. That ain't bad.
Remember this too. He's the 27, so he's only what? He's going to be going into his junior year this year. So
what's he, like 16?
Yeah, so he's like a sophomore this year. He just ended his sophomore season. So he's going to be a junior next year. So he's got 2 years. He could gain another inch or 2. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, that don't bother me, especially with some of these dudes. You know, if you can go up and get the ball and high point the ball and stuff, and you got a big time vertical, you know, sometimes it don't matter.
Yep. So, and this is one of those situations where Bryce Underwood already has a great relationship with him. Due to Sound Mind, Sound Body, which is the big camp or the big, group of players, or like, you know, it's like a, what is it? Like a, you know, a football association where they, you know, all the best players in Michigan play with each other, practice. They do the 7-on-7s, all of that. So that is how they all know Bryce Underwood. And Bryce Underwood's already built relationships with these kids. Player to watch. And he's going to be visiting. So just so you guys know, he's visiting in 2 days on March 20th. So I wanted to bring that to you guys' attention. Let's be on the lookout for that. Obviously, there's a long way to go on that one, but that is a name we got to get familiar with. The last thing I want to hit on, and we talked about this on Monday on the well, actually we talked about it Sunday, and then we also talked about it yesterday on our members only hangout yesterday. This is basketball, but there is a player who entered the transfer portal out of Iowa by the name of Owen Freeman. Okay, considered one of the top transfer players, won freshman of the year at Iowa 2 years ago. He's averaging 16 points a game, I think like 8 rebounds. He's like a Vlad Golden, but more skilled. And word is that I believe it's between Gonzaga and Michigan. But I can't remember, I think it's Gonzaga's the other school. I told our guy Block M on Sunday that I was hearing on my end, it's Michigan. It's Michigan. Like I was hearing mid last week that Michigan's coming very aggressively. And Dusty May's working very hard to land him, and things are looking very good for Michigan. On Monday, we talked about it again. And from my understanding, Michigan's looking very, very good for Owen Freeman. So be on the lookout. I anticipate Michigan. I'm going to say I anticipate Michigan to land him. From my understanding, Michigan's very aggressive here in terms of NIL. And I even had somebody share with me, there was an Iowa radio show talking about what some of these teams are offering in terms of financial compensation. And let's just say from them, because so from them, Michigan is way above them in terms of NIL offering. So that's what was being said in Iowa. So just wanted to share that with you guys. Be on the lookout for that. Very exciting times. What we do know before we end this recruiting update, what we do know is when Dusty May got his contract extension, he was given even more NIL promises in terms of financial resources. So basketball's in a great spot. Football's in a great spot, and it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine, boys.